Campbell got asked about David Montgomery yesterday, and he flipped it into the offensive line and said that that's the key to this team. I mean, what do you need to see from this line to get to that point?
Well, I think, you're going to continue to see our offensive line develop. And to be honest, I think Coach Campbell deflected the question because we know what David Montgomery is. And we know what he's been able to do with, not enough depth at offensive line, not good enough, movement up front. And we've seen what that guy's been able to do. But now we got to focus our attention on the offensive line. And if we really want to get the running game to where it can be to help David out, it puts all the onus on us up front.
What's the key to that? I mean, what's the biggest thing you need to see in terms of trying to get the movement you're looking for?
Well, I think we're at a point now where, our guys are strong. They do look the part. But right now we're trying to create that mentality. We're trying to create the run-first mentality. And I think that's the biggest thing. The way we drill it now, the way we put, the priority on the run game, those guys understand that the run does come first. And we need to be better for our offense to be better.
Where have you seen the biggest growth kind of from year one to year two, and then where do you want the biggest growth this year?
Well, I think you see growth in our depth. I think we got a lot of guys that are able to play now. And I feel very confident in saying that we probably have 8 guys right now that we could put in and they would be efficient and be able to play for us. Going forward, where can we continue to grow? I think understanding our scheme, inside and out. Understanding what the defense is trying to do to us and our ability up front to make the adjustments and take advantage of what they're showing us.
How big have the strides been, I guess, from day one to where you are now?
I mean, they've been ginormous. We played 3 walk-ons our first year here, right? We played a redshirt freshman and a JUCO transfer that had never played. So, if you look at where we're at today, you could say that in terms of development, we did exactly what we said we were going to do. We were going to bring new guys in. We were going to develop them and get them ready to play. And the guys that were already here, we've developed them even further to become. And those are the same guys that are, playing at a really high rate for us right now.
You'd be having, played at Toledo yourself. How big of a jump is sophomore or freshman, sophomore to junior? How big is that jump for guys like Meeker, Good Jones, and now Kniffel in terms of taking that big step as upperclassmen?
Well, for them, they've played a lot of football, so their growth has to come mentally, in my opinion. Physically, they're doing what we're asking them to do. They're able to make the blocks that we're asking them. Now it's that mental side of the game. When you talk about growth with the young guys, the redshirt freshman year to the redshirt sophomore year is the biggest year. Those guys get redshirted that are lifting more, that aren't practicing as much, that aren't doing the game planning stuff. You can really focus on fundamentals with them and really put the priority in the weight room.
What's Julian meant to the offensive line?
Well, I think he's been a huge part of what we've been able to do so far. So Julian moved in from tackle last year to play center, which in our offense is a really important position. We put a lot on that guy. We ask him to make a lot of calls, and when he sees something going on, he has to make us right. He had the mental capacity to move in and do that, and the athletic ability too. But he's been huge in anchoring that offensive line down last year, and I think going forward, he's really going to help with those young guys, bringing guys along. The beautiful thing about him is you can play him at tackle, you can play him at guard or center. So when you talk about a dynamic guy that can swing to all 3 positions, it's invaluable.
Meeker's been kind of that versatile guy too that Matt's mentioned in the past. What have you seen from his growth curve, I guess? I know he's dinged up a little bit at the end of last year, but just to maybe be healthier now and get in there.
Yeah, midway through last year when we got to TCU, he was playing his best football. He was consistently getting better every week. But going forward, I mean, that's where he has to continue to grow. He needs to grow into, more of a leadership role, more development in the playbook, all those things that you expect an older guy to do. That's where he's got to turn the curve. Now, he's practicing really hard right now and really well, and we couldn't be more happy with where he's at. But in terms of him to take the next step, really anchoring down that right side of the offensive line.
2 guys that were on the depth chart last year were Robert Hudson and Jacob Bolton. Where do they fit into that mix, especially with you have 4 guys that have started games? Where do those guys fit? Are they the key competitors, or?
Well, I think that's why we're mixing and matching right now. We want to find out. We say that we have a left guard position open, but in my opinion, we have 5 spots open. And I'm challenging these guys to fight for those jobs and to challenge each other within the room. Now, is there a clear cut 2? No. Is there a clear cut top 7? Not in my mind. And that's why we've had the ability. We swung Julian to left guard today, you know, and Bolton's taking reps with the ones, you know, things like that. We're going to continue to mix and match so that those guys are comfortable to plug in at any point.
With Bolton and Hudson, what stood out last year that had them on the 2 deep and has them in the discussion as redshirt freshmen?
They had a lot of natural ability. You know, they were pretty far along when they got here. Their size certainly helped to negate anything that they were missing in terms of the playbook. You know, but now that's where they have to pick it up. You know, they've done a good job this offseason, but they just got to get in the playbook and be lights out there.
How nice is it to have some experience and now almost kind of a base coming back, because it seems like every year you're having to just completely revamp the line?
It's really nice. You know, you go back to square one every spring, and you focus on fundamentals, and you focus on detail, and it's easy for those older guys to hop in day one and make adjustments. The nice thing about it is we're playing Colin Newell at left guard. We put Will Wyndham's been swinging in there too, and Julian today. And when you have 4 guys that have played significant reps and have seen it live bullets, you know, coming at them, that doesn't matter who's in there, they're doing a good job of communicating what's going on.
Who else can play center if Julian does swing to something like guard?
Colin Newell played center all last year. Obviously, Will Wyndham was, you know, our backup center last year and came in games late to get us out of some stuff. Those guys off the top of my head, Colin Olson is a new guy that moved over, you know, from the defensive line, and we're going to put a ball in his hand and see what he can do too.
I know we're asking about a lot of individuals, but where does Ogie fit in the mix? He's had kind of a tough go of it, obviously, with injuries and stuff. But.
Yeah, so he's still coming back from that injury. With him, you know, it's kind of a day-to-day thing, and we want him to have close to full strength in that tricep before we put him back out on the field. So, you know, he's got to continue to strengthen that thing. We got to get that tricep right first, and then he's going to be thrown in the mix and get a shot.
How's Trevor Downing looked so far?
He's probably the most impressive one so far for his current situation. You know, you talk about a guy that graduated early, should still be a high school senior. He's been the most impressive for being a young guy to be able to come in and handle the playbook on day 1 and 2, to be able to come off the football and drive people vertically. I mean, he's been more than what we could ask for.
How is